I want to start the discussion of this situational leadership approach. Let me try to summarize what we have just covered. The first is the power, right? The power and then the leadership. And then it's about the leadership traits, certain characteristics. So we just use the certain characteristics to be a good leader, although not necessarily true, right? And then later on, we talk about the leadership behavioral approach. So Michigan State and Ohio State combine this together, low and high, right? Job-centered, low and high, employee-centered, low and high. And then the contemporary view is we have like a job-oriented, you are more talk about the process, you not talk about the focus on the decision-making, right? You talk about the individual, influencing individual, or you are more care about the building the relationship for the team. Move on. Personally, I like this, we call it the situational leadership. This is the part of the leadership behavioral approach, rather than stick with the job-centered behavior or employee-centered behavior. Now, you can have different behavior. Taking the situational factors into consideration, you define your appropriate, the suitable, right, leader behavior, right? You apply. It seems in this textbook, they always, skip the doing part, the action part. You can get the desired subordinate's response. I leave this aside because it can be effective. It can be ineffective, right? Remember, we have talked about commitment response. We have the compliance response, resistance response. Consider the situational factor. The situational factor can be the environment, who is the subordinates, your relation. And then you apply different leadership behavior. You apply either the job-oriented or you apply employee-oriented behavior. I would say that is another circle, right? The different behavior, you need to learn that leadership or leader behavior. If you already have that, and then you need to reconsider whether you have the misunderstanding of this situational factor. Let's say you select a wrong leadership behavior. The situational approach takes time to practice. But really, you need to practice, improve, put this way, and then find your best way. Those series beneath, those are all supporting building your knowledge base. The knowledge might be yours already, but the skill, no, you haven't practiced. The three different, let's say, situational approach, including the LPC, pass goal model, and then the last one is the participation model. I will focus on the pass and goal model. That makes more sense to me. LPC model, what is LPC? LPC means least preferred coworker. This in mind, this is one of the situational approach, right? So we need to select the appropriate leadership behavior, 2 dimensions. I like to call 2 dimensions, but in this case, this is up is called the considerate leadership, permissive, passive, considerate leadership. Once you see consideration, this is people or employee oriented, right? I care about people. The lower one is called controlling, active, structuring leadership. Once you see structuring, link or related this to the organization, design, organization structure, the position, call this task-oriented or job-oriented style of behavior. Similar, right? Very similar terms. We call task-oriented, job-oriented, job-centered, initiating structures, right? Here we call like a controlling, active, structuring leadership. They are talking about the similar thing. And then we talk about relationship-oriented. I would say people-oriented, employee-oriented, or here they call it the permissive, right? The permissive, passive, considerate leadership. What this tells us, they focus on the relation. Situational element is the relation, is the task structure, is the position power, those 3. The leader-member relation, and then you understand what does that mean. So the 2 extreme, right? They call at least preferred co-workers. This is very poor, extremely poor, right? I put this cross sign. This is extremely good. Thinking about if you are a manager, you're a leader in the organization. So you have those co-workers, right? Subordinates, who has very good relation, relationship with you, so they are here. Who has very, very bad relation, they are against you, and then they are here. What leadership style you should apply? I'll try to relate it to the real life scenario. The subordinates has very good relationship with me as the leader. I would not waste too much time trying to persuade the companies, hey, come, do the job. So you are my best friend. So no discussion, just have it finished. The good relationship you will see, actually they are somewhere here. I put the W. You don't make trouble with me. This is task oriented. But if the other side, those employees, they are extremely resisting, right? They're resisting. You also don't talk too much, right? You just do the job. Otherwise, you go. You know that this is, you don't waste the time, okay? So the relationship is very bad. You just don't want to be nice, kind of give up. But in the middle, those are not so good, not so bad relationship. Allow me to say, pretend to be nice. That's why you guys doing a good job. And then let's, hit the target. And then you are more talk about the relationship. You care about the employee. You pretend, right? Pretend to be, employee-centered, consideration, considerative. Combine these two together, I think you understand it. So too extreme. I mean, it's easy, right? Just assign the task. Go ahead, kick your butt. And then if it is the relationship is not so good, not so bad, and then you would more care about, their feeling, their satisfaction, use those reward system, right? So trying to give them this so-called the rational persuasion, something like that. As I said, I like the second situational model, the second situational pass-go model. So the pass-go model, it is one of the general situational approach. This leadership is to clarify for employees' path to desired goals. So this is about the motivation and then goal achieving. It is the motivation model, but somehow leadership and motivation, right? You just combine it together. How you motivate your employee by link behavior with their goals, link the path with their goals. All right, more accurate is the path and goal. Introduce this the path and goal model here is more focused on this situational leadership style. The leadership style or the behavior, including a directive. Directive is task-oriented, right? Directive. And then supportive is more people-oriented. I support you, coach, right? Tutoring, and then I care about you. That's until you are qualified. But it has the third level of force. Actually, it's fourth level. One is called participative. The other is achievement-oriented. Participative. Participate what? It's decision making. As the leader, you develop, you grow them, you develop them. They become the future manager. Talk about the people development. Achievement-oriented is more much higher expectation. You are already ready to replace me. Where's this different leadership behavior or leadership styles, in the toolbox? And then you consider the situational factors or situational elements, the subordinates, the environment. Initial development is about the participative. Ask him to delegation, right? Invite him to make the decision together with you. And then later on, independently make the decision. And you enjoy your life, your subordinates become the deputy, right? Deputy manager. You are ready to promote once there's a position open, right? He is ready to promote to your position. Split this into two parts. One is about the motivation. One is about the leadership style or the situational leadership style. As the leader, we needed to choose the appropriate leadership style. After this, assessing this situational element, we show them the path to the success. We show them the path to the promotion. The very last one, the third situational approach, we call it the participation model. The participation model is very specific about how much group members should be allowed to participate in the decision-making process. When I show you the path and goal model, this is the very last two styles. Participative, it's about the development. Your style is more focusing on developing your subordinate. So take a look. This participation model of leadership, pretty straightforward. Different level of participation, right? So the first is the leader decided everything, right? The leader consult the individual employee or consult the group of individual employee, or let's say later on, it's facilitated the decision making, right? So who made the decision now? Subordinates or individuals, employees, right? Not the leader. And then later on, delegate means you do the job, you made the decision, right? So, but I would say this is one of the behavioral approach. Remember this Michigan study? Talk about the job-oriented, employee-oriented. Now this is more like participation-oriented or development-oriented. You treat them as treat the employee as the future potential manager. They call like leadership is common sense. Yeah, for a good leader, for sure, this is common sense, right? But if you are not yet a manager, not yet a leader, it is not common sense. But you need to try. You need to try to feel, because you watched the movie, you have experienced many things, and then you will know. Oh, watch the TV. Who's a good leader? Who's not a good leader, right? So who can motivate people? You get the feeling. Follow this different approach. Okay, follow this different approach, you will understand. The very last one is we try to integrate all those approaches together. Power, leadership traits, behavioral approach, situational approach. I will not say that as one solution for all, but if you have to pick one to focus on, this is the situational approach. If you want to pick up one specific situational approach, it is the task-goal model, why we call it situational, right? So because it depends on the subordinates, right? Which style you choose. Other contemporary perspective or other contemporary approach, I would say those are, once you see this, actually they belong to one of those leadership approaches, charismatic leadership. Remember, we talk about the referent power, and then this can be the leadership traits, transformation, the entrepreneurship leadership. This can be the, also the power and then the traits, symbolic leadership impression. But this is also, I would say, this is the leadership traits approach. Other perspectives are like a substitute, neutralizer, part of the situational leadership approach, situational approach. For those situations, leader is not necessary. The leader is not leader anymore. The leader is just the facilitator, organizer. So leader-member exchange approach, this going to the other extreme. Remember the path and goal, we have different levels of leadership style. This leader-member exchange means the leader and then the member, they already started to switch the position, right? So it's not a delegation, right? It's become like an exchange approach.